Welcome, Your Majesty, to the Royal Society of Edinburgh. Welcome too to the Lord Lieutenant of the City of Edinburgh, to our medalists, our fellows, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. We are here for the presentation of Royal Medals, and ma'am, you were the monarch that gave us permission to create these Royal Medals, and we have awarded them since 2000. They're awarded to individuals who've achieved distinction and are of international repute. And I'm delighted to say that we also have 10 previous recipients of Royal Medals here today. Thank you for being with us. This year, once again, we have 3 eminent recipients, and we're grateful to you for coming here to award these Royal Medals in person. The first Royal Medal is to be presented to Professor Peter Boyle, and I'll ask Professor Neva Hates to read the citation.
Your Majesty, Peter Boyle, corresponding FRSE FMEDSci, graduated from the University of Glasgow and worked in the city there before moving to the United States and then to France and Italy. He is one of the world's leading epidemiologists and has had a major impact on his specialty of cancer epidemiology. He is unusual in that he combines scientific excellence with a passion for using his research to influence health policy. He has been able to influence strategies for health improvement at the highest level and has been instrumental in developing disease control strategies for the European Community, the World Health Organization, and a wide range of governments across the world. As a member of the European Cancer Advisory Board, he developed a proposal for European Tobacco Content Directive, which became law in European Parliament in 2001. This European-wide law restricted the tar, nicotine, and carbon dioxide content of cigarettes that were sold in Europe. This law paved the way for subsequent anti-tobacco legislation in the European Union and its member states. In addition, Professor Boyle worked closely with several national governments on the introduction of bans for smoking in bars, restaurants, and public places. Professor Boyle was the driving force behind the development of 3 versions of the European Code Against Cancer. This process involved a Europe-wide consultation from experts in a wide variety of fields and created a series of recommendations for the general public to reduce the incidence and mortality of cancer. A 9.5% reduction in the number of cancer deaths expected in 2000 was the result, preventing 98,000 cancer deaths each year. The code is widely viewed as successful and part of the reason for the decline in tobacco-related deaths in the European Union and in North America. Professor Boyle's work has been accompanied through forging international collaborations. Following his tenure as director of the International Agency for Research into Cancer, he founded the International Prevention Research Institute. Each year, he brings together clinicians and policymakers from a range of countries in Africa, Asia, and South America to discuss the health needs of these countries and the strategies necessary to alleviate their burden of infectious disease, emerging chronic disease, diabetes, and cancer. These meetings are attended by a wide range of people, including health ministers, public health experts, workers from international aid agencies, as well as clinicians. His non-for-profit organisation supports young researchers from the countries to become effective contributors to improving services in their own countries. Professor Boyle is helping to make long-term investment in health in these countries. Professor Boyle is one of the most distinguished and influential scientists in all of cancer medicine. Widely respected, he is a thought leader in the field of cancer prevention and control. He is literally moving epidemiology into the 21st century and making it relevant for prevention of cancer and other chronic diseases. Through his work, Professor Boyle's concern for the poorer sections of the population have been evident, and he has been a strong advocate for prevention strategies aimed at narrowing global inequalities in health. Professor Boyle is the president of the International Prevention Research Institute and director of the University of Strathclyde Institute for Global Health. And it is for his outstanding contribution to global cancer control and public health policy that he is awarded an RSE Royal Medal.
Ma'am, could I invite you to present the first Royal Medal to Professor Peter Boyle? We now move to the presentation of the second Royal Medal to Professor Tessa Holyoake. Could I ask Neva to read that citation?
Thank you. Your Majesty, Professor Tessa Holyoake FRSE FMedSci is a world-leading clinician scientist who has made a fundamental discovery in the existence of cancer stem cells in chronic myeloid leukemia. She has made seminal observations in the fields of hematopoietic stem cell biology and CML, that is chronic myeloid leukemia, that have been transformed our understanding of this disease and its treatment. Professor Holyoake was the first to identify the existence of cancer stem cells in CML in 1999. Through her continued research work, she was also the first to demonstrate that CML stem cells were resistant to the most potent kinase inhibitors. This study highlighted to researchers worldwide that kinase inhibitors alone are not likely to cure CML. Her work focused on the identification of key stem cell survival pathways that may be manipulated in a selective manner to eliminate CML stem cells. This work has opened up potential new therapeutic approaches that could eradicate treatment-resistant cancer cells in human patients. This study was published in Nature in 2016, and a second study identifying an alternative pathway to eliminate CML stem cells was published in Cancer Discovery last year. These recent discoveries place Professor Holyoake at the pinnacle of worldwide CML researchers. Professor Holyoake has such a clear and uncluttered mind when it comes to clinical research, such that her pathway to distinction was inevitable. Her time in Vancouver helped her to gain the international status that would have been harder won simply by staying in Scotland. With Connie Eves, she did some great work which helped to further define CML stem cells. However, she has built on this work in Glasgow, an internationally competitive and world-class research. In particular, this Nature paper from last year is a huge contribution to the already exemplary research that has occurred in chronic myeloid leukemia, leading the way in cancer research. To define the ways to kill off cancer stem cells is so important, and this has been done so successfully with the Glasgow group that she leads. Professor Holyoake is the director of the Paul O'Gorman Leukaemia Research Centre at Gartnavel General Hospital in Glasgow. She is a key member of the advisory board for the fundraising campaign for that centre, which opened in 2008. She worked tirelessly to lead the fundraising, design and commissioning of this new facility that now supports 7 translational research groups, team leaders, and about 45 research scientists and students, all working in experimental haematology. Professor Holyoake contributes to the betterment of humankind as a caring, expert clinician, as a highly effective mentor to many excellent young scientists in Glasgow and around the UK, as a leading member of global haematology community, and as a remarkable scientist who has brought new understanding to leukaemia biology. It is for her outstanding contribution to the field of life science through her discovery of the existence of cancer stem cells in chronic myeloid leukemia and her development of new therapy for this condition that Professor Holyoke is awarded a Royal Society of Edinburgh Royal Medal.
Ma'am, could I invite you to present the second Royal Medal to Professor Tessa Holyoke? And so we come to our third recipient this year, who is Mr. Donald Runnicles. And could I ask Professor John Wallace to come to the lectern to read the citation for Mr. Runnicles?
Your Majesty, Donald Runnicles, OBE, is concurrently Generalmusikdirektor of the Deutsche Oper Berlin, music director of the Grand Teton Music Festival, Wyoming, at which he conducts the opening concert tonight, conductor emeritus of the BBC Scottish Symphony Orchestra, and principal guest conductor of the Atlanta Symphony Orchestra. Edinburgh born into a family steeped in music making, his father was a church organist and chorus director, and his mother taught piano. Donald Runnicles went on to read music at the University of Edinburgh and St John's College, Cambridge, before setting off to London, where he apprenticed at the London Opera Centre. An accomplished pianist, his path led next to Germany, where he worked his way through the repertory opera house system, learning the totality of the craft and art form of opera and symphonic music. Through daily immersion in an extensive repertoire of unusual variety, he developed a command of both grand architecture as well as the tender moment that so distinguishes his artistry. His performances and interpretations, particularly of German Romantic repertoire, Wagner, Mahler, Strauss, as well as their 20th century successors such as Berg, Benjamin Britten, Shostakovich, and Prokofiev, are celebrated events to which devotees flock and newcomers experience their first epiphanies. In any given year, he might be heard with several of the world's top orchestras and opera companies, whether the Chicago Symphony or Berlin Philharmonic, at the London Proms or Metropolitan Opera. He is perhaps best known and most beloved for his ability to focus on a few institutions and for the close and enduring relationships he develops with them. We are fortunate for the time he devoted to the BBC Scottish Symphony Orchestra between 2009 and 2016 as its chief conductor, raising the orchestra to a new and exemplary level of performance which brought it well-deserved world renown. His performances have been heard by millions via BBC Radio 3 and the European Broadcasting Union, and his CD and DVD recordings with the BBC Scottish Symphony Orchestra and other orchestras have left us a magnificent legacy which will continue to work their magic on audiences of the future. It is for this outstanding contribution to the art of music at the highest level internationally that Donald Runnicles is awarded an RSE Royal Medal.
Ma'am, you will have heard in that citation that Mr. Runnicles cannot be here in person because he is tonight conducting the opening performance at the Grand Teton Music Festival in Wyoming. And he cannot get from here to Wyoming in time to do that. I am happy, ma'am, to be charged by you to accept this on behalf of Mr. Runnicles and to deliver it at a future date. We've had a note of thanks from Mr. Runnicles, which I'd now like to read. It is with profound pride and pleasure that I accept the Royal Society of Edinburgh Royal Medal 2017. My deep gratitude to Her Majesty the Queen and to the Venerable Society is hard to express in words. As my musical career has taken me to all the corners of the globe, a fact that sadly precludes my appearance today in person, it is and will remain Edinburgh, that beautiful and ancient city to which I am forever indebted, the cultural jewel that has inspired and supported me, a city and community that, moreover, I can proudly call home. This auspicious award today humbles me. Your approbation fills this Scot with renewed energy and passion as I endeavour through my music to make a difference. Your Majesty, ladies and gentlemen of the Royal Society of Edinburgh, thank you so much. So, ma'am, thank you so much for your presence here today to present these medals. You've been a patron of the Royal Society of Edinburgh for over 60 years, and we are deeply honoured to have had you as a patron for so long and greatly appreciate your continuing interest, which you have so amply demonstrated by your presence here today, as on many other occasions. We're also greatly honoured to have other members of the royal family as honorary fellows, including the Duke of Edinburgh, Prince Charles, and the Princess Royal, and they support the work that we do. Prince William, Duke of Cambridge, Earl of Strathern, is our most recent Royal Honorary Fellow, and we very much look forward to welcoming him here to formally admit him to the fellowship. As I bring this ceremony to a close, my congratulations to all the medalists on behalf of everyone here. Thank you, fellows and guests, for coming to celebrate this special day. And with deep appreciation once more, ma'am, that you've honoured us with your presence, may I invite you to come with me through to the gallery next door.